Maya Chen stood at the viewport of her small transport vessel, watching as Delta Station grew from a distant speck to an imposing structure against the backdrop of swirling nebula gases. The station's distinctive triple helix design marked it as Vexillarian architecture, its crystalline spires reflecting the purple and green waves of cosmic radiation that bathed this sector of space. Her hand unconsciously tightened around the data crystal in her pocket. 3 years of research, countless sleepless nights, and one revolutionary quantum engine design. The docking procedure was automated, but Maya could feel the subtle resistance in the station's systems, as if they were reluctant to accept a human vessel. She'd expected that. The Vexillarians were notorious for their technological pride, and Delta Station was their crowning achievement, a deep space research facility that had produced some of the most significant advances in propulsion technology in the last century. Docking complete, announced the station's AI in perfectly accented standard English, though Maya detected a note of condescension in its artificial voice. Please proceed to decontamination and present your credentials to station security. Maya gathered her materials, the data crystal, her toolkit, and the compact prototype model she'd constructed to demonstrate her theory. The decontamination chamber hummed with energy as it scanned her for potential biological contamination. She emerged into a corridor that seemed designed to make humans feel small, with soaring ceilings and walls that pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. A junior officer, their crystalline skin refracting the ambient light, led her to the engineering section. Maya had prepared herself for the prejudice she would face, but the reality still stung. Every alien they passed either ignored her completely or regarded her with obvious disdain. Humans were newcomers to the galactic community, and many older species still viewed them as primitive upstarts. The engineering bay doors parted to reveal a vast chamber filled with equipment that seemed to blur the line between organic and mechanical. At its center stood Chief Engineer Thrax, their towering form commanding attention. The Vexillarians' crystalline features were arranged in what Maya had learned was an expression of supreme skepticism. "So," Thrax began, their voice resonating at frequencies that made Maya's teeth vibrate slightly, "you are the human who claims to have revolutionized quantum engine design." The word human was pronounced with the same tone one might use for bacteria. Maya straightened her spine. "I don't claim anything, Chief Engineer. I've done it. My design increases efficiency by 47% while reducing quantum instability to nearly zero." She placed her prototype on the nearest workbench. "I can demonstrate." "That won't be necessary," Thrax interrupted, not even glancing at the prototype. "The Vexillarian Science Academy has already determined that quantum coalescence cannot be achieved at the efficiency levels you propose. Your calculations must be flawed." "They haven't seen my approach," Maya persisted. "I've developed a new matrix that—" A sudden alarm cut through the air, its pitch making Maya wince. Thrax's crystalline form shifted colors rapidly, the Vexillarian equivalent of a frown. "Station, report," they commanded. The AI's voice filled the chamber. "Critical instability detected in primary reactor core. Quantum cascade failure imminent. Estimated time to critical failure, 17 minutes. The engineering bay erupted into activity. Thrax began issuing rapid orders in their native language, their form now pulsing with urgent patterns of light. Maya rushed to the nearest diagnostic terminal, her fingers flying over the holographic interface. "The containment field is collapsing," she announced, her eyes scanning the data streams. "The quantum matrix is approaching critical resonance. We are aware of the situation." Thrax snapped. "This is a Vexillarian station. We will handle it." Maya ignored them, her mind racing. The diagnostic data showed exactly what she predicted in her research. The traditional approach to quantum containment was fundamentally flawed. "But her matrix—" "Listen to me," she insisted, pulling out her data crystal. "My design isn't just about efficiency. The matrix I've developed can stabilize quantum fluctuations even in critical conditions. If you let me implement it, I can stop the cascade." Kithrax's crystalline form vibrated with anger. You expect us to trust untested human technology with the safety of this entire station. You don't have a choice, Maya shot back. Look at your own readings. Traditional containment methods aren't working. In 15 minutes, this station will tear itself apart at the quantum level. My matrix is the only option you have. A representative of the hegemony rose, their environmental suits still marking them as separate from the harmony around them. And what prevents this technology from being used as a weapon? Such power could tear reality apart in the wrong hands. That's exactly the point, Kithrax replied, their patterns showing passionate conviction. The quantum harmony cannot be weaponized because it requires cooperation to function. Force it, try to control it, and it collapses. Only willing participation makes it grow stronger. Maya activated their main demonstration, and the quantum field expanded to show a holographic view of the galaxy. Points of light began to appear, connecting different systems in a web of potential. Imagine, she said, her voice carrying the weight of possibility. Ships powered by the combined scientific principles of multiple species. Colonies where different forms of life work in quantum harmony with their environments. Technologies that grow stronger through cooperation rather than competition. The chamber erupted in discussion, each species contributing their own perspective. Maya felt Kithrax's form pulse with private patterns meant only for her. They're beginning to understand, the Vexillarian said softly, though some will resist longer than others. Maya smiled. Change takes time, but we've shown them it's possible. That's the first step. As the representatives debated, a new message flashed across the chamber's information screens. The Vexillarian Science Academy, after reviewing their research, had made an unprecedented decision. They were establishing a new division dedicated to cross-species quantum research, with Maya and Kithrax as its joint directors. It seems, Kithrax said, their form showing patterns of both amusement and pride, that we have created something that cannot be contained by old boundaries. We did more than that, Maya replied, watching the quantum field dance around them. We proved that the greatest discoveries happen when we stop trying to prove our superiority and start learning from each other. The assembly continued late into the station's night cycle as representatives from across the galaxy began to grasp the implications of their discovery. Treaties were proposed, research agreements drafted, and new possibilities imagined. Through it all, the quantum field pulsed and grew, demonstrating in real time how harmony between different species could create something greater than the sum of its parts. Later, in the quiet of their shared lab, Maya and Kithrax stood at the viewport, watching the nebula gases swirl beyond the station. The quantum field around them had settled into a comfortable rhythm, adapting to their now familiar patterns of interaction. I never expected, Kithrax said, their crystalline form showing complex patterns of emotion, that a human could teach me so much about the nature of reality. And I never expected, Maya replied with a smile, that a Vexillarian could show me that even the most rigid structures can change and grow. The quantum field shimmered between them, a physical manifestation of the bridge they had built between their species. Outside, the first ships equipped with their new harmonic drives were being prepared for launch, ready to carry the message of cooperation to the farthest reaches of space. Where do we go from here? Maya asked, though she already knew the answer. Thrax's form brightened with the patterns she had come to recognize as joy. Beyond the stars, Maya Chen, there are infinite harmonies yet to discover. The station hummed around them, its quantum core now a symphony of cooperation between human intuition and Vexillarian precision. In the gardens below, new crystals grew in patterns that defied old understanding, but pointed the way to future discoveries. And in every lab, workshop, and meeting room, beings of different species were learning to see their differences not as barriers, but as opportunities for growth. Their story had started with mockery and prejudice, but it had evolved into something far greater, proof that the universe's greatest mysteries could only be solved when different perspectives came together in harmony. As Maya and Kithrax turned back to their work, They knew that this was just the beginning. The quantum dance of cooperation they had discovered would continue to grow and evolve, leading their species and countless others toward a future where diversity was not just accepted, but celebrated as the key to unlocking the universe's deepest secrets. Tendencies instead. Cathrax leaned closer, their crystalline features refracting the holographic light, like coaxing a crystal to grow along its natural axis instead of forcing it into a predetermined shape. There was a new note in their voice. Understanding. Exactly. Maya felt a surge of excitement. That's a perfect analogy. I never thought of it that way. Perhaps, Cathrax said carefully, there are other areas where our different perspectives might complement each other. Their work fell into a rhythm over the next few cycles. Maya found herself fascinated by the elegant complexity of Vexillarian engineering, while Cathrax began to appreciate the innovative leaps that human intuition could provide. Their discussions often extended beyond pure engineering into the philosophical foundations of their different approaches to science. Your species embraces chaos. Cathrax observed one cycle as they worked on integrating Maya's matrix into the station's secondary systems. You see patterns in randomness that we would dismiss as noise. And your species seeks perfect order, Maya replied, making a minute adjustment to the quantum harmonics. Sometimes too perfect. The universe isn't crystalline, Cathrax. It's messy and complex and beautiful because of that. The chief engineer was quiet for a moment, their form shimming with thoughtful patterns. There was a time I would have considered such a statement heresy. Now, I find myself questioning many things I once held as absolute truth. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Xelton, a senior member of the Vexillarian Science Council. The ancient scientist's crystalline form was elaborate and formal, their patterns speaking of centuries of accumulated knowledge and pride. Chief Engineer, Xelton's voice resonated with authority. The Council requires your report on the humans' modifications to our systems. Maya noticed how Cathrax's form stiffened slightly, returning to its more formal configuration. The integration is proceeding according to schedule, Doctor. The efficiency improvements are consistent across all implemented systems. So I see. Xelton turned their attention to Maya, their crystalline features arranged in what she now recognized as thinly veiled disdain. Tell me, human, how did you come to violate the fundamental laws of quantum mechanics? I didn't violate them, Maya replied calmly. I just showed that your understanding of them was incomplete. The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Thrax emanated warning patterns, but Maya continued. The universe doesn't care about our pride, Doctor. It doesn't care whether a discovery comes from a species that's been traveling the stars for millennia or one that's barely left its home system. Truth is truth. Truth. Xelton's form pulsed with barely contained anger. Truth is the accumulated wisdom of countless generations of Vexillarian scientists. Truth is the perfect order we have brought to the chaos of space. Truth is not the lucky guesses of a primitive species. Doctor, Cathrax intervened, their voice carrying an edge Maya had never heard before. Maya Chen's lucky guess saved this station and everyone aboard it. Her matrix has revolutionized our understanding of quantum mechanics. These are facts, not matters of pride. The senior scientist turned to Cathrax, their form radiating shock. You defend this human. Has she corrupted you so thoroughly? She has taught me. Cathrax replied firmly, that progress requires us to sometimes admit we were wrong. A lesson, perhaps, that some of us still need to learn. Xelton's form flashed with patterns Maya couldn't interpret, but their meaning was clear enough from the scientist's next words. The Council will hear of this. There are those who believe allowing humans access to our advanced technology is a mistake. This incident only proves their point. After the scientist stormed out, Maya turned to Cathrax. You didn't have to defend me. I defended the truth, Cathrax replied, their form slowly relaxing from its formal configuration. And perhaps it was time someone did. They paused, patterns of uncertainty flowing through their crystalline body. The Council will not take this lightly. There may be consequences. Maya nodded, understanding the risk Kithrax had taken. Then we'd better make sure our results are too good to ignore. Show them that cooperation makes us both stronger. Indeed, Kithrax's form brightened slightly. Though I must admit, I never expected to find myself caught in a scientific revolution alongside a human. Life's full of surprises, Maya said with a smile. Speaking of which, I have a new idea about improving the quantum field harmonics. Want to break some more laws of physics. The patterns flowing through Kithrax's form were definitely amusement now. Lead the way, Maya Chen. It seems that is what humans do best, showing us new paths we never thought. The engineering bay fell silent except for the wailing of alarms. Kithrax stared at Maya, their crystalline features unreadable. Around them, other Vexillarian engineers waited for their chief's decision, their forms flickering with nervous light patterns. Finally, Kithrax spoke. If you are wrong, human, you will not survive to regret it. Proceed. Maya was already moving, connecting her data crystal to the station's systems. I need direct access to the quantum core controls, and I'll need your help. The implementation will require precise timing. To her surprise, Kithrax moved to the adjacent terminal without protest. Tell me what you need. Maya's fingers danced across the interface as she uploaded her matrix. When I give the signal, you'll need to initiate a complete quantum field reset. The timing has to be perfect. My matrix needs to take control in the microsecond between the old field collapsing and the cascade becoming irreversible. The minutes that followed were a blur of intense concentration. Maya's world narrowed to the streams of data flowing across her screen, the subtle vibrations of the station's dying reactor core, and the steady presence of Kithrax beside her. She made final adjustments to her matrix, compensating for the specific conditions of Delta Station's systems. Ready, she announced. Initiating matrix upload. Now, start the reset sequence. Thrax's crystalline hands moved across their terminal with surprising grace. Reset sequence initiated. Field collapse in 3, 2, 1. For a terrible moment, every alarm in the station screamed at once. Maya felt the floor vibrate beneath her feet as the reactor core's containment field collapsed completely. Then, with the speed of thought, her matrix sprang into action. New quantum fields snapped into place, their structure fundamentally different from anything the station had used before. The alarms fell silent. On Maya's screen, the reactor core's quantum signature stabilized into a perfect, harmonious pattern. She let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. By the first crystal, Kithrax whispered, their form glowing with astonishment. The efficiency readings. This is impossible. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Not impossible, just a different way of thinking about the problem. Sometimes it takes an outsider's perspective to see new possibilities. Thrax turned to face her, their crystalline features rearranging into an expression Maya couldn't quite interpret. Perhaps, they said slowly, the Vexillarian Science Academy's assessment of human capabilities requires revision. Around them, the engineering bay hummed with the sound of a perfectly functioning reactor core, its quantum heart now beating to a rhythm that neither human nor Vexillarian had imagined possible alone. In the days following the reactor incident, Delta Station hummed with an energy that had nothing to do with its newly stabilized quantum core. Maya found herself at the center of a quiet revolution, though not everyone was happy about it. She sat at her newly assigned workstation in the engineering bay, surrounded by holographic displays showing the performance data of her matrix, when she felt the familiar crystalline resonance of Kithrax approaching. Your matrix continues to exceed theoretical limitations, Kithrax stated, their tone caught between admiration and irritation. The Council has requested a complete analysis of its operational principles. Maya looked up from her work, noting how Kithrax's crystalline form seemed less rigid than before, the light patterns flowing more freely through their translucent body. I've prepared detailed documentation, but understanding the principles requires letting go of some fundamental Vexillarian assumptions about quantum mechanics. So you keep saying. Kithrax moved to stand beside her, their towering form casting prismatic patterns across her displays. The Council has requested that I work directly with you to integrate your innovations into our existing systems. Maya caught the slight hesitation. Ordered, you mean? Requested firmly. Kithrax corrected, a flash of color rippling through their form that Maya was beginning to recognize as amusement. It seems saving the station has earned you some political capital, even among those who would prefer to dismiss human achievements. The engineering bay around them was a study in integration, human and Vexillarian technology working in harmony, despite their designers' reluctance. Junior engineers from both species worked side by side, their initial awkwardness giving way to genuine collaboration as they discovered the strengths of each other's approaches. I've been analyzing your traditional containment systems, Maya said, pulling up a new set of diagrams. They're incredibly sophisticated, but they're built on a paradigm that assumes quantum states must be forced into alignment. My matrix works with their natural, but from anyone who would use it wrongly. This discovery could change everything. And that, Kithrax replied, is precisely what frightens them. Change threatens power structures that have existed for millennia. But perhaps that change is necessary. They made their way to the Crystal Gardens, using maintenance corridors to avoid detection. The gardens were beautiful, vast chambers filled with growing crystals of all sizes, their natural patterns creating a symphony of light and color. As they worked to secure their research, Maya felt the quantum fields around them responding to the crystalline environment, creating new harmonies they hadn't observed before. Thrax, are you seeing this? The field is integrating with the natural crystal frequencies. The patterns. Thrax's form was glowing with excitement despite their situation. They're identical to the ones we observed in our breakthrough. The crystals are naturally creating the same quantum dance we discovered. Maya's mind raced with implications. We didn't invent this at all. We just discovered something that was already there, waiting to be found. Something that might have been discovered ages ago if our species had worked together from the start. Their moment of scientific revelation was cut short by the sound of approaching footsteps. Thrax's form shifted to warning patterns. We have company. The hegemony's agents must have tracked us. Maya quickly finished securing the last data crystal. Let them come. Some truths can't be stolen or suppressed. They can only be understood through cooperation and trust. Thrax's form showed patterns she'd never seen before. A complex mix of pride, determination, and something else she couldn't quite identify. Then let us show them what true cooperation can achieve. As they prepared to face whatever came through the garden's entrance, both knew they were defending more than just scientific discovery. They were protecting a new way of thinking, a proof that the greatest achievements come not from dominance and control, but from the willingness to learn from those we once considered beneath us. The Crystal Gardens of Delta Station had always been a place of peace and growth. Now they were about to become a battlefield. Maya and Kithrax stood among the luminous crystals, their research secured but their options limited. The sound of footsteps grew closer, echoing through the crystalline chambers. 6 of them. Kithrax whispered, their form dimmed to minimal luminescence. Hegemony elite agents, judging by their energy signatures. Maya checked the portable quantum scanner she grabbed during their escape. They're carrying quantum disruptors. One hit from those could shatter every crystal in this chamber, and possibly tear a hole in space-time, Kithrax added grimly. They either don't understand the technology they're dealing with, or they don't care about the consequences. The first of the hegemony agents appeared at the garden's entrance. Tall, sleek figures in environmental suits designed to mask their species' natural signatures. Their leader stepped forward, quantum disruptor raised. The research data. The agent's voice was artificially modulated, empty of emotion. Hand it over, and you may survive this encounter. Maya felt Kithrax's crystalline form vibrate with barely contained anger. You threaten this station's safety for technology you can't possibly understand. "Understanding is not required," the agent replied. "Only possession. The hegemony will decipher your discovery in time." "That's your fundamental mistake," Maya said, carefully shifting her position among the crystals. "This isn't technology that can be stolen and reverse engineered. It's a partnership between different ways of thinking, between species." The agent's helmet tilted slightly. "How typically human, to romanticize simple physics. Your emotional attachment to scientific discovery is why your species remains primitive." As they spoke, Maya noticed something extraordinary. The quantum fields they'd been studying were responding to the tension in the room. The crystals around them were beginning to resonate at frequencies that interfered with the hegemony scanning equipment. Thrax had noticed it too. Their form pulsed with rapid patterns, a warning, a plan, a question. Maya gave a slight nod. She understood. "You want to see what our discovery can do." Maya's voice rang out clear and confident. "Then watch carefully." In one fluid motion, she activated the quantum matrix controls she'd been palming. Thrax's crystalline form blazed with light, channeling the energy through the garden's natural crystal structures. The quantum fields they'd been studying suddenly sprang to life, but on a scale they hadn't attempted before. The effect was immediate and breathtaking. Every crystal in the garden began to glow with internal light, creating a complex web of quantum resonance. The hegemony agents scanning equipment overloaded, their quantum disruptors becoming useless as the very fabric of space around them shifted and danced. "Impossible." The lead agent stepped back, their modulated voice showing emotion for the first time. "Fear. These readings, they defy all known laws of physics." "No." Thrax's voice resonated with pride. "They defy your understanding of those laws. There is a difference." The quantum field continued to expand, creating a protective bubble around Maya and Thrax. The hegemony agents found their advanced weapons and technology gradually shutting down, rendered inert by the harmonious quantum interference. "Last chance," Maya called out. "Leave now while you still can. This field will only grow stronger. Try to fight it, and you'll be trapped here until station security arrives." For a moment, it seemed the agents would risk it. Then their leader made a sharp gesture, and they began to retreat. "This isn't over," the agent warned. "The hegemony does not forget." "Neither do we," Thrax replied, their forms still glowing with channeled energy. "Remember that you were defeated not by superior force, but by cooperation you thought impossible." As the agents disappeared, Maya quickly accessed the station's security systems, alerting them to the infiltration. But her mind was already racing ahead to bigger implications. "Thrax," she said urgently, "what we just did, that wasn't supposed to be possible. The field responded to our needs, adapted itself to protect us." The Vexillarian's form showed patterns of deep thought. "The quantum resonance, it's not just a field effect. It's more like a bridge between different states of reality, between different ways of thinking, between different species," Maya added. "This is bigger than new technology. We've discovered a way for different forms of life to work together at the quantum level itself." Their moment of revelation was interrupted by the arrival of station security, led by none other than Dr. Xelton himself. The ancient scientist took in the scene. The glowing crystals, the lingering quantum effects, the evidence of the hegemony's infiltration. "It seems," Xelton said slowly, their crystalline form showing complex patterns of conflicting emotions, "that we have all underestimated the importance of your work. And perhaps, the importance of cooperation between our species." Maya and Thrax shared a look. They had won this battle, but they both knew it was only the beginning. Their discovery had the potential to reshape relations between species across the galaxy. The question was the galaxy ready for that much change? "We should check the quantum harmonics," Thrax said, their forms still bright with residual energy. "Make sure the field is stable." Maya nodded, but as they turned to their work, she felt a new certainty. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Human intuition and Vexillarian precision, emotion and logic, chaos and order, working in harmony to create something greater than either could achieve alone. The great assembly hall of Delta Station hummed with anticipation. Representatives from a dozen spacefaring species had gathered, their diverse forms filling the crystalline chamber with a riot of colors, patterns, and energy signatures. At the center of it all stood Maya Chen and Keith Rax, their discovery about to change the course of galactic history. The quantum field they had created now encompassed the entire chamber, visible as a subtle shimmer in the air that seemed to bridge the gaps between different species' perceptions. Maya could feel it responding to the assembled beings, adapting and harmonizing with each unique form of consciousness. Distinguished representatives. Thrax began, their crystalline form gleaming with formal patterns. What you are experiencing now is not merely a technological achievement. It is proof that the barriers between our species are more permeable than we ever imagined. Maya stepped forward, feeling the quantum field strengthen around her. For too long, we've approached space travel and colonization as a competition, each species developing their own technologies, jealously guarding their discoveries. But what we found suggests a different path. She gestured, and a quantum field rippled with new patterns. Around the chamber, beings of all species gasped or made their equivalent expressions of wonder as they felt the field resonate with their own natural frequencies. This quantum harmony, Maya continued, isn't just stable, it's adaptive. It grows stronger with diversity. The more different species participate, the more powerful and efficient it becomes. Dr. Zelton, now their strongest advocate on the Science Council, added their own voice. Our initial skepticism was based on pride and prejudice. We thought we knew the limits of possibility. These two have shown us that true progress lies in questioning those limits. The engineering bay of Delta Station had transformed over the past weeks. Where once strict segregation had ruled, now humans and Vexillarians worked side by side, their different approaches to technology creating something entirely new. At the heart of this transformation, Maya and Keith Rax huddled over a complex holographic projection, their faces illuminated by the swirling quantum patterns. There, Maya pointed to a particular oscillation in the field. Do you see it? The quantum resonance pattern isn't just stable, it's self-reinforcing. Thrax's crystalline form pulsed with excitement, a sight that would have been unthinkable just weeks ago. The field is creating harmonic echoes. But that's... They paused, their patterns shifting to show deep thought. According to everything we know, this should be impossible. Maybe we don't know everything yet, Maya replied, adjusting the projection. Look at how the quantum states are aligning. It's like they're dancing together, finding their own natural rhythm. The discovery had started as an accident. They'd been working on improving the efficiency of Maya's matrix when Kithrax had suggested incorporating elements of traditional Vexillarian crystal harmonics. The result had been something neither of them had anticipated. A quantum field that didn't just maintain stability, but actively grew stronger over time. If we can replicate this effect on a larger scale, Kithrax mused, their form shimmering with possibilities, we could revolutionize space travel. Ships could maintain quantum fields indefinitely, using minimal energy. Maya was already running calculations on her terminal. Not just ships. Think bigger. What if we could create stable quantum fields around entire colonies, or use them to terraform hostile environments? Their excitement was interrupted by a priority message flashing across their screens. Kithrax's form darkened slightly as they read it. The Science Council is demanding immediate access to our research data. It seems Dr. Xelton has been busy. They're moving faster than we expected, Maya frowned. We need more time to understand what we've created here. If they rush to implement this technology without fully comprehending it, the consequences could be catastrophic. Kithrax finished. Quantum fields of this magnitude require precise calibration. One mistake could tear a hole in space-time. Maya stood up, pacing the workspace they'd come to share. We can't just hand over our research. Not yet. But if we refuse, the Council has the authority to seize all research conducted on this station, Cathrax said grimly. And there are those who would be happy to see this collaboration end. Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from the station's security systems. Strange energy readings were being detected in multiple sectors. Thrax accessed the main security feed, their form radiating concern. These patterns, they're consistent with quantum scanning devices. Someone's already trying to steal our work. Maya quickly initiated encryption protocols on their research data. Can you track the source? The signals are coming from. Thrax's form flashed with alarm. The hegemony. They must have infiltrated the station. The hegemony, a rival alliance of species known for their aggressive acquisition of advanced technology. If they got their hands on the quantum breakthrough, they'd weaponize it without hesitation. We need to move our research, Maya said, already downloading critical data to secure crystals. Is there somewhere on the station they won't think to look? Thrax's patterns shifted to show determination. The crystal gardens in the lower levels. They're shielded against quantum scanning to protect the growing crystals. We can hide our data there until we decide what to do. They worked quickly, transferring their most sensitive findings to portable data crystals. As they finished, Maya noticed something odd in the quantum field readouts. Thrax, look at this. The field, it's responding to the threat, almost like it's trying to protect itself. The Vexillarian moved closer, their form pulsing with scientific curiosity even in the midst of crisis. Remarkable. The quantum states are shifting to create interference patterns that would make them harder to scan. It's as if the breakthrough we've made is more alive than we realized. Maybe that's what we've been missing, Maya said softly. We've been thinking of quantum fields as tools to be controlled, but what if they're more like partners to be worked with? Thrax was quiet for a moment, their crystalline form showing complex patterns of realization. Like the relationship between our species, control and dominance lead to resistance, but cooperation creates something greater than the sum of its parts. Maya finished. She looked at their shared work, seeing it with new eyes. We need to protect this, Thrax, not just from the hegemony,